Welcome to History Tales, the channel that tells the story. In this brief video, we'll explore the epic-making event that marked the beginning of Islam, the birth of the new faith in Mecca. We'll discover how Muhammad, an Arab merchant, received his first divine revelations, and how these gave rise to one of the most influential religions in the world. Birth of Islam. In 610 AD, an epoch-making event forever transformed the religious and cultural landscape of the Arabian Peninsula. On that date, in the city of Mecca, a crucial commercial and spiritual center, Muhammad, a 40-year-old Arab merchant, received his first divine revelations, thus marking the beginning of Islam, one of the world's most influential and widespread monotheistic religions. Muhammad, considered the prophet of Islam, was known for his deep spirituality and contemplative isolation in the caves near Mecca. During one of these intense meditations, the archangel Gabriel appeared to him, bringing with him the message of Allah, the one God, which would form the core of the new faith. It is reported that in this divine encounter, which took place in the cave of Hira, Muhammad received the first revelation of the Quran, the sacred text of Islam. This moment marked the beginning of a series of revelations that Muhammad would receive over 23 years, a period during which the doctrinal and spiritual basis of Islam developed. The revelations received by Muhammad were passed down orally to his followers and later collected and transcribed into the Quran, which became the foundation of the new Islamic faith. The message brought by Muhammad emphasized faith in one God, compassion, social justice, and humanity, promoting a strong sense of unity and community among his followers. Islam spread rapidly throughout the region, attracting diverse people with its simplicity and universality. Despite opposition from the political and religious leaders of Mecca, who feared the loss of power and control, the new religion gained ground and attracted more followers. The conversion of some influential members of Meccan society, including some of Muhammad's closest relatives, contributed to the legitimization and spread of Islam. However, the opposition of powerful Meccans led to growing conflict between Muhammad's followers and local authorities, culminating in the emigration of Muslims to Medina in 622 AD, an event known as the Hijra. In Medina, Muhammad not only established an Islamic state, but also consolidated his political and religious power, becoming a recognized leader of his community. This period marks the beginning of the Islamic calendar and symbolizes the birth of a new era for Muslims. Subsequent revelations, which were collected in the Quran, continued to guide and inspire the Islamic community, providing moral, legal, and spiritual guidance for believers. Muhammad's message and the spread of Islam had a profound impact on the region and the world at large, giving rise to one of the largest and most influential religions in the world, the Pillars of Islam. Islam, one of the world's major monotheistic religions, is based on a set of fundamental principles that form the heart of Muslim religious practice. These principles, known as the 5 Pillars of Islam, outline the spiritual and practical responsibilities of every believer and are enunciated in the early verses revealed to Muhammad. The first pillar of Islam is the Shahada, or Declaration of Faith, which proclaims faith in one God, Allah, and the testimony that Muhammad is his prophet. This declaration is the foundation of Muslim faith and is recited in various religious and ritual contexts. The second pillar is the Salat, or ritual prayer, which consists of 5 daily acts of worship directed towards Mecca. These prayers are a time of communion and personal reflection with Allah and are considered essential for maintaining a spiritual connection with the divine. The third pillar is the Zakat, or obligatory charity, which requires Muslims to donate a portion of their wealth to the less fortunate in society. Zakat represents an act of solidarity and social justice and underscores the importance of sharing resources with those in need. The fourth pillar is the Sawm, or fasting, during the month of Ramadan, the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. During this period, Muslims abstain from food, drink, and worldly activities during daylight hours, reflecting on their faith, practicing self-discipline, and showing compassion to those experiencing hunger and deprivation. The fifth pillar is the Hajj, or pilgrimage to Mecca, which is obligatory for every Muslim who is able to do so at least once in their lifetime. During the Hajj, pilgrims perform a series of sacred rituals that commemorate the events of the lives of Abraham and Ishmael and renew their spiritual commitment to Allah. These 5 pillars form the foundation of Islamic religious practice and guide Muslims on their spiritual and moral journey. From the early days of its spread, Islam attracted followers through its simplicity, universality, and call to a life of faith, righteousness, and justice. The early adherents of Islam were primarily among the closest relatives and friends of Muhammad, who were influenced by his preaching of faith in one God and an invitation to a life of righteousness and justice. However, his influence quickly grew, attracting the attention of many despite the opposition of Mecca's religious and political elites, who feared the loss of power and control. The opposition to Muhammad and his new religion, Islam, by Mecca's elites led to a period of persecution and violence against Muslims. The growing presence and influence of Muhammad's followers threatened the traditional social and religious order of the city, fueling resistance and hostility from the Meccans. Faced with this increasing hostility, Muhammad and his followers decided to emigrate from Mecca to the city of Medina in 622 AD. This crucial event, known as the Hijra, not only marks a significant moment in the lives of Muhammad and the early Muslims, but also the beginning of the Muslim calendar. The Hijra represents the transition from persecution to religious freedom and marks the beginning of a new phase in the spread and consolidation of Islam. During his time in Medina, Muhammad developed a constitution that regulated the life of the Muslim community and established a series of laws and norms based on the teachings of Islam. This period of governance in Medina was characterized by increasing cohesion and solidarity among Muslims and contributed to strengthening their religious and political identity. However, Muhammad's rise and that of the Muslims in Medina did not go unnoticed in Mecca. In 630 AD, with an army of loyal followers, Muhammad returned to Mecca with the aim of conquering the city and establishing Islam as the dominant religion of the region. Surprisingly, the city of Mecca surrendered without a fight, and Muhammad entered the city as a victor. The conquest of Mecca marked a turning point in the history of Islam and the entire region. With the fall of Mecca, Islam became the dominant force in the Arabian Peninsula, and Muhammad consolidated his role as a political and religious leader. The conquest of Mecca was followed by a series of treaties and agreements with surrounding tribes, recognizing Muhammad's authority in Islam as the predominant religion. This event marks the beginning of the Islamic Empire and the start of a new era for the region. Islam spread rapidly across the Arabian Peninsula and beyond, leading to unprecedented cultural, political, and religious transformation. The conquest of Mecca represents a crucial moment in the history of Islam and helped shape the course of Islamic civilization for centuries to come. Impact of Islam. The rise of Islam marked a turning point in the history of the Middle East and North Africa, bringing significant changes to the region's political, cultural, and economic spheres. Islam not only unified the tribes of the Arabian Peninsula under one faith, but also provided a strong sense of identity and social cohesion among Muslims, promoting solidarity and cooperation among diverse communities. One of the most evident impacts of Islam was the spread of the Arabic language as the lingua franca of the Islamic Empire. Arabic became the primary vehicle for transmitting knowledge, religion, and culture, facilitating communication and the exchange of ideas among the various regions of the empire. This contributed to the formation of a unified culture and the spread of a cosmopolitan Islamic civilization that embraced a wide range of traditions and knowledge. The expansion of the Islamic Empire also led to the dissemination of arts, sciences, and philosophy. Muslim scholars translated philosophical, scientific, and literary works from Greek, Persian, and Hebrew into Arabic, preserving and enriching the intellectual heritage of humanity. This intellectual fervor culminated in the Islamic Golden Age, a period of great prosperity and cultural development that saw significant contributions in the sciences, mathematics, medicine, architecture, and the arts. From an economic perspective, Islam favored the development of a commercial and financial system based on Islamic principles. The prohibition of usury, riba, and the promotion of economic justice were fundamental to creating a fair and sustainable economic environment. Muslims inherited and developed the ancient trading traditions of pre-Islamic Arab peoples, expanding and improving trade routes that connected the East and West. Islamic cities became important commercial and cultural centers, where merchants from around the world gathered to exchange goods and ideas. Islam promoted charity and social assistance as integral parts of religious practice. The institution of zakat, the obligation for Muslims to give a portion of their earnings in charity, helped mitigate economic inequalities and support the most vulnerable in society. This system of charity and social solidarity contributed to the cohesion and stability of Islamic communities. Wars. Wars during Muhammad's lifetime and immediately after his death were crucial in the territorial expansion of the Islamic Empire and the spread of Islam to vast regions. These conflicts, known as Islamic conquest wars or jihad, were led by Muhammad's followers and successors and led to significant transformations in the geopolitical landscape of the Mediterranean world and beyond. During Muhammad's lifetime, wars were primarily fought against tribes and cities in the Arabian Peninsula that resisted his preaching and the expansion of Islam. Major battles included the Battle of Badr in 624 AD, the Battle of Uhud in 625 AD, and the Battle of Khaybar in 628 AD. These military victories consolidated Muhammad's power in the region and laid the groundwork for subsequent Islamic conquests. After Muhammad's death in 632 AD, the caliphs who succeeded him continued the policy of territorial expansion through war. The first caliph, Abu Bakr, led the so-called Wars of Apostasy to consolidate the central authority of Islam and subdue rebellious tribes in the Arabian Peninsula. Subsequently, under the Rashidun and Umayyad and Abbasid caliphates, the Islamic Empire expanded in various directions through a series of military campaigns. One of the most significant examples of territorial expansion of the Islamic Empire was the conquest of the Persian Sasanian Empire and the Byzantine Empire. Islamic conquests in Central Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa led to the fall of important centers of power, such as the cities of Jerusalem, Damascus, Alexandria, and Baghdad. These victories had a lasting impact on world history, opening up new trade routes, spreading Islamic culture and religion, and influencing the fate of the populations involved. Islamic conquest wars were not only military conflicts, but also processes of cultural and religious diffusion. Muslim armies often offered favorable peace conditions to subdued peoples, allowing them to maintain their religion and culture in exchange for tribute and political loyalty. This pragmatic approach favored the acceptance of Islam by conquered populations and contributed to the rapid spread of the new faith. Islamic conquest led to significant cultural and scientific exchange among the diverse regions of the Islamic Empire and beyond. Centers of learning such as Baghdad, Cordoba, and Baghdad became beacons of knowledge and innovation, where scholars, philosophers, and artists from diverse cultural traditions gathered to share ideas and knowledge. This intellectual fervor contributed to the transmission of classical works from antiquity and the development of new scientific and artistic discoveries that would influence the course of human history. The beginning of Islam thus represents a crucial moment in world history, with profound political, cultural, and economic implications that extend far beyond the 7th century. The birth of this new faith shaped the course of history and left an indelible mark on human civilization. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave us a like and share it with your friends. And if you want to stay updated on our upcoming videos, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. See you soon on History Tales.